Would it be too forward to ask him if I can touch his cold, dead, veiny, vampiric penis? Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and beyond. How are you guys doing today? My name is Animuh, and welcome, one and all, to Monstrous Lovers. Doesn't that sound enticing? It sounds very enticing, exciting, and sexy, and monstrous, like a monstrous lover does. So one of the developers of this game approached me and was like, hey, this game exists, why don't you play it? It's a boys love game. And I was like, because boys love, the uncensored version, is bumming. It involves bumming, okay? There, I said it. And coming off of the back of coming out on top, lots of going on in that sentence. Coming off of the back of that, there's another one for you. We might be interacting with some co-op making machines. I don't really know. Either way, we play as this strapping young fellow who works in the department of, like, monster-human integration, I believe. I saw the trailer and it was well sick. And we're going to be hanging out with these lovely boys. And that's like a werewolf, that's like an android guy thing. That's an invisible guy, by the way. That's not like a mummy. It's not, And that's Dracula's son, which will appeal to some of you and not appeal to some of you, I can imagine. Me, I'm up for it. I'm up for the spikes and the grey and the pointy ears. You know what? I can dig it. I can dig it. But enough! Let us start game and immerse ourselves in this monstrous adventure. Are you sure you want to do this? You have a brilliant career ahead of you. Well, I'm going to be frank. St. George is a dead end. Oh, God. Yes, I'm sure. I think this is us. I always give the protagonist one of the easier voices so that I don't blow my throat out when I say it. Yes, I'm sure. I didn't join the Department of Integration to be stuck with a desk job. And if I stay here, a desk job is all I'm gonna have. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you, bitch. Oh! Yeah! Alright. Yeah. Okay. When my request to be transferred to St. George was approved, I couldn't contain my excitement. St. George is a relatively small town near the coast, famous for having a higher population of monsters than of humans. Monster weenie! Essentially. It's not the only one of such places to exist, but it's the only one big enough to have a DOI office of its own. Dongs or... all in all, a natural choice for someone in my line of work. Or so I thought. Oh dear, we're gonna see some monster weenie! To be frank, I'm beginning to have second thoughts right now. Convincing my boss, as hard as it was, turned out to be the least of my problems. When word about my transferal began to spread, even the people who had supported me from the beginning wouldn't stop urging me to reconsider. Dude! That place is gay! Is that what they were saying? Probably. No one had thought that I would actually go through with it, but seeing a signed paper made them realize I was being serious. They were supporting him, but when they realized it was actually gonna happen, they were like, fuck! Then, to make things worse, I simply couldn't find a place to stay. At all. Well, there's a rather fetching bench over there. We could just go for it, really. And then a nice bush. I know we're not really into this being a boys' love game, but, we might get as well give it a shot. The few hotels in town fill up months in advance, and even as a government employee, it was impossible to find someone willing to rent to a human on short notice. Oh my god, there's some prejudice. In the end, I was lucky enough to have someone from the St. George office offer to let me stay with them in the meantime. But they're a blood-sucking vampire? What could be taking them so long? I glanced at my phone, they're almost an hour late. Don't know what you look like, so I can't make a voice. Wait, it's me. I wouldn't worry too much. Cute guys like you don't get stood up. Startled by the voice, I clutched my phone to my chest as if my life depended on it. Oh god. I knew it was a vampire. I should have given him a smoother, sexier voice. Oh well. When I turned around, I see what seems to be a vampire leaning against the back of the bench. So he's not upset by sunlight. Is he gonna sparkle? Is that a thing? He's grinning like he just hadn't scared the hell out of me. Or worse yet, like he found it amusing. Oh, he looks nice though! What do you think about the art style? It's a shocker coming out from, coming off of coming out on top. Too much coming. Oh, embarrassing. But I really like it. I really do. I think it's very colourful and beautiful. Okay, so next. After a few seconds pass and he doesn't make any sudden movements, I realise that I'm not about to get mugged and I allow myself to relax a little. Who? Before I can actually say anything, he walks around the bench and sits down next to reading. Yeah, really good at that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fuck's sake. Before I can actually say anything, he walks around the bench and sits down next to me. Right next to me. Oh god! Alright then. In fact, he's so close that our knees touch for a moment before I move my leg away. It's all in the knees, dude. It's all in the tension between knees and fingers and shit. You know, that's the light brushing and stuff. It sets the loins a-tingle. So, love, are you new in town? That's my sexy guy voice. Don't judge. Excuse me? Woo! Christopher is blushing! Oh, it's weird that he's not Schween. I wish we could name him. That way Schween's legacy will carry on. I've got a great memory when it comes to pretty faces, and I'm sure I've never seen yours around. Is he hitting on me? Maybe I heard wrong. Not sure what else to do, I look down at my phone and pretend to be busy, hoping he'll get the hint and leave. Are you waiting for someone too? Maybe we could wait together. Instead of getting discouraged, he leans forward, obviously trying to catch a glimpse of the screen. What if he leans forward and there's just endless pictures of, like, garlic on the screen? Would that be like a slur? Would that be like a slight against him? Would that be? I don't know. Now he's invading my personal space even more, but he smells nice! Is that Pantene Pro V? I don't know. Pro V, Pro Vampire? Is that what it's all about? Picking up my things, I get up. He stands up right after me, practically jumping out of the seat, and takes a step forward to block my way. Wait! Don't go. Oh god, what? He's going for it. I'm sorry. We don't get many humans around here, and I got a little carried away. Let's start over, alright? I'm Vincent. He offers me a hand. He's beginning to make me uncomfortable, but by now it's become obvious that ignoring him won't make him go away. Yay! Shake his hand and introduce myself. Tell him to leave me alone. Well, that'll definitely get this visual novel off to a right sizzling start. So let's shake his hand and introduce ourselves. I'm Christopher. Christopher Wells. Oh, he's our guy, isn't he? Ain't that just how it works? He looks very pleased with himself all of a sudden. He's got cute teeth, a cute little button vampire nose. Is that okay? I think it's okay. I tried to place his face. I would definitely remember someone with this kind of attitude. Especially a monster. Unless he is. No. No way. Do we know each other? Not exactly. I work at the Department of Integration. So you are him, right? Oh god, he is! I nod. This is great! When I was told a human would be coming over from the capital, I imagined some stuffy old guy. You are so much better. Well, I mean, come on. As he continues speaking, I can almost feel the blood drain from my face. I do my best to smile, but all I manage is a weird combination of the frown I had until now and an expression of embarrassment. Thankfully, if Vincent notices, he doesn't mention it. Your things should be getting here tonight. I imagine you will want to report to the office in the meantime. After that, we can go home so you can check the place out. Sounds good? Well, it sounds great! Would it be too forward to ask him if I can touch his cold, dead, veiny, vampiric penis? Yeah! Sounds good! Vincent puts an arm around my shoulder, and before I can react, pulls me closer to him in one swift move. Stranger danger, buddy! Stranger danger! Ah! Well then, let's go. We're not too far. I had an extra 2 in there, that's my flair coming through. We stay in more or less the same position the whole way to the office. At one point I try to slip away, but the only thing I manage is to lose my footing and get him to hold me even tighter. Well, that's good. We're going to have to get some lure de garlic if we want to put this guy off. But, you know, I don't really mind him right now, because I know that, you know, we're going to get a bit of jousting done, so I don't really mind. I can definitely tolerate quite a lot if I know that the promise of jousting lingers on the horizon. The Department of Integration here in St. George is very different from what I'm used to. This building is mostly brick and steel, dating back from the time when the DOI acted as a shelter and a community kitchen. Okay, so there's like some prejudiced monsters kind of situation going on. On the other hand, the office at the Capitol was located in a huge, modern skyscraper. As we approach... Oh, we got some sneaky theme going on. I just want to sneak in and steal your girl to this theme, honestly. As we approach, a man standing by the door catches my attention. He's covered in bandages from head to toe, and he's wearing very flashy clothing. Ooh, my god, notice me, senpai. He is very colourful, what the hell? Against the dull colour of the building, he sticks out like a sore thumb. He also seems pretty upset about something. His arms are crossed, and he keeps tapping his feet impatiently against the floor. Maybe he's waiting for the office to open. When Vincent notices him, he stops suddenly. I swear, that guy doesn't have a life. Who is he? That's Sebastian, the supervisor. He's our boss? And he comes to work dressed like that? Wait for me here, won't you? Vincent doesn't give me the opportunity to say anything else. In fact, he's not even looking at me anymore. He finally takes his arm off my shoulders and hurries to meet Sebastian. At first I stay put like Vincent told me to, but as their conversation gets louder and angrier, I no longer feel comfortable just looking from afar. By the time I decide to get closer, they are practically, the great new word, yelling at each other. They are both so engrossed in their argument that they barely notice me approaching, the bastards. What did I tell you about bringing him over your friends here? He's not. Whatever! I'm sure he can introduce himself. You're late enough as it is. But? You're still here? Go! Fine. I'm going already. No! He gives Vincent a hard shove towards the door, or at least he tries to. There is a considerable difference in strength between them, and as a result, Vincent barely budges. Laughing, Vincent turns around and winks at me before opening the door and heading inside. His hair is so cute, though. He looks like such a little bad boy. Letting out a disgruntled groan, Sebastian turns to face me. Now, where were we? Right, introductions. Whatever amount of patience he may have had, it's clear that he had already spent it all on Vincent. I can't really blame him. I haven't spent an hour with Vincent, and I'm beginning to get a little exasperated myself. I take out the transfer notice from my pocket and hand it to him. My name is Christopher Wells. I just got transferred from the capital. I was told you'd already been informed. He eyes the paper carefully, almost with suspicion, then nonchalantly folds it in half. I see! I'm Sebastian Griffin. Come on in. This is no place to talk about it. I don't know, he looks very flamboyant, so I've given him a very flamboyant, Once inside, Sebastian begins to walk so fast that I can barely keep up. The music in this is fresh. After almost losing him twice, I can't help but get the impression that he's trying to leave me behind on purpose. Why ever would he do that? Oh god, subscribe. Oh god, hit the like button. Leaving the folded paper on top of the desk, Sebastian takes a seat. I notice that there's only one chair, but since he doesn't mention it, neither do I. Wells, right? Yes, Human Resources informed me about your request. HR, that's really... However, I was very clear when I explained to them that we can't receive anyone at the time. That's not possible. The letter clearly says, our budget is very limited, and it's allotted months in advance. Unless you come with a very big dick check or are willing to work for free. That's just how it is. The earliest we could have you would be 10 years. Oh, next year. Ah, you disappoint me. I was ready to go. I was in it for the long haul, mate. I frown. What a tosser. After all the trouble I went to get transferred, I can't just go back like this. Not now. It's one thing if it turns out that I'm not cut out for St. George after all, but if I don't even get to try, I won't ever be able to live it down. I understand, but... Point out that it's not his choice, or insist politely. I get the feeling he won't like that it's not his choice, but these people have all been weird, so fuck you! If I have to pester this guy until he accepts, so be it. At this point, I don't have a lot of patience left myself. Mr. Griffin, the order comes straight from the director. We both know that if I go back, I'm just going to end up here again, and next time, it'll be me and a very angry letter from the head of Human Resources. For a moment, Sebastian says nothing. He looks pensive, I guess, but less like he's considering what I just said, and more like he's trying to think of a way to tell me to get lost. Finally, he lets out a groan. Let's see you put your money where your mouth is! Well, I'll definitely put something. We were told to help update the town's registry a while ago, but I can't spare the people to do so. If you can help me get everything ready for a census without screwing up, I'll see about making room for you. You'd have until your first payment is due about 2 weeks. I nod. I will do it. He waves a hand in a dismissive gesture. Just make sure I don't regret it. I'm doing something for you, you absolute knob jockey flapjack. You'll begin with that tomorrow. For now, go to the warehouse and pick whatever you need from there. After that, you can come help with this week's paperwork. Oh, paperwork, my favorite. Paperwork. Unless you have a problem with them. No, I will be right back. Ah, Jesus! Jesus, he's a Cantonese! He's a right Cantonese! Luckily for me, the warehouse is right behind the office, so it only takes a few minutes to find it. Hell yeah, bitch! However, once I'm there, it's a completely different story. As I step inside, the first thing I notice is that the interior is so dark that I could barely see what's in front of me. Shit. There's a window on the door big enough to let sunlight through, but at this hour it's pretty much useless! God! Someone spare some money for the window budget! Maybe the office used to have a daytime shift when they first opened, and then moved to a night one to better accommodate monsters. Oh, I see. Or maybe the warehouse used to be something else, and it was repurposed. As I fumble for the light switch, my hand suddenly touches... When the lights come on, I find myself facing some sort of glorious creature. Beautiful and resplendent. Nice hands, dude. I want. My god. Some sort of, android, I think. With some monsters, you can't really be sure until they tell you. Realizing that our fingers are still touching, I move my hand away. It's pretty, these are pretty intense first meetings, aren't they? You know? He stares at me with a raised eyebrow for a moment, as if deciding what to do. This area is off limits for visitors. Bitch, please return to the main building. His voice has a mechanical ring to it, like text being read aloud by a voice synthesizer. Oh, it's like the oh, I can't do an impression of that. It's really difficult. It's not unpleasant, but it's exactly how I would expect an android to sound like. If you are unable to find the way back by yourself, I can accompany you. Oh, sorry. He's like, you basic. I'm not a visitor. I'm an employee. I just started today. My name is Christopher Wells. Nice to meet you. Duly noted. You can call me Isaac. Oh, Isaac is a nice name. How may I help you, Christopher? Mr. Griffin sent me to get some things. Do you know where the office supplies are? He nods. Instead of pointing, he makes an open-handed gesture towards a line of shelves in front of us. Odd. Of course. Please follow me. Every few steps, Isaac turns his head to check if I'm still behind him. However, because he just looks at me without actually saying anything, we soon fall into a very uncomfortable silence. I like your... No, I'm into robots. I'm into a bit of Aegis, you know, Persona 3 and all that. Let's go! Hello? I clear my throat to get his attention. Listen, robot. You're pretty sexy. So, what do you do here at the DOI? I'm in charge of the organization and maintenance of the warehouse and its contents. Meat sack. Really? I've always thought that the people at the warehouse had one of their most interesting jobs, right after the field agents. How do you like it? I find that my abilities are well suited for it. I wait for a moment for him to continue speaking, but he doesn't. Okay then. Have you been working here for long? As of today, 1 month and 3 days, bitch! Luckily, I don't have to think of something else to say, as Isaac finds what he was looking for, a big cardboard box with a label that reads, stationery. Very thrilling. Placing the box on the ground, he then takes out a pen and piece of paper from it and hands them to me. Here it is, bitch. Please write your name, department, and everything you plan to take out, then sign on the line. Don't we have some sort of electronic form? He shakes his head. Paper only, bitch. Being told as much by an android feels really bizarre, but I resist the urge to make a comment. Since I technically don't belong to any department yet, I just put down the pending sign and begin shuffling through the box's contents with my free hand. Let's see. Pen, pencil, stapler, correction liquid. Thing is, there's no, nothing at all remotely sexual is happening. So it's correction liquid, right? There's no innuendos for me to make here. I'm just being a dumbass. Of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm actually really enjoying this. That would be all. Thanks, Isaac. You are welcome, bitch. Feel free to inform me if you require further assistance. Having gotten everything I need, I head back to Sebastian's office. I don't know why I go full, eyebrows. I don't know why. Something about the android voice. I feel like because my voice is too steady, I feel like I have to compensate with, a hurricane on my face. The first thing I notice is that, though there's still only one chair, now there's a metal bench for me to sit on, too. It doesn't look comfortable at all, but I suppose it's better than being left standing up like a bitch! I take my place at the other side of the desk, and we begin to work. Oh wait, do I not even have a chair? What the fuck? Much to my dismay, the rest of the night turns out to be incredibly dull. Although I have to admit that it's nowhere near as bad as it was back in the capital, where the bulk of my work consisted on checking forms and reports that were more a bureaucratic requirement than an actual necessity. Subscribe! It's still paperwork, and there's lots of it. But on the plus side, Sebastian seems rather pleased by the fact that I'm already familiar with most of the procedures, so he doesn't have to waste any time explaining them to me. Yes, it's him again. Hello, you chuckle fuck. What's up? Is it? I look up. He's staring at me so intently I can practically feel him burning holes in my head with his eyes. Even with his glasses, it's pretty intimidating. Sorry, could you repeat that? I asked whether it's true that you'll be staying with Vincent. It is. Keep the details to yourself. I don't need them. Ew, gross. Since you'll be living together, I have a favor to ask you. I want you to do everything you can to make sure that Vincent arrives on time from here on. His tone makes it sound more like an order than a request. Hang on, let me just look at this. He's got like a bleeding crucifix on his very penis. Either way, it would probably be better for everyone involved if these two had one less reason to argue about. I'll do my best. Good! Sebastian stands up and opens one of the drawers. That would be all for today. You can go home. Be here at 7. That's fuck early. The person to arrive is in charge of opening, so I'm giving you a spare key just in case. He takes out a key and hands it to me. An actual metal key with the DOI symbol engraved on the side. Between this and the fact that they are still using paper forms to track an inventory, I realized he wasn't joking when he said that St. George runs on a very limited budget. In the capital, even the least important rooms have long had their locks exchanged for either card or fingerprint readers. Bloody hell, they're in the bloody Stone Age, innit? Putting away the keys in my pocket, I excuse myself and go looking for Vincent. Oh. Okay. Let's find him. What if we just find him and he's like hunched over a body, viciously sucking blood? Like, what do we do? That's a bit awkward. After a couple of minutes, I end up in the break room. Since Vincent wasn't with Sebastian and me, he wasn't in the warehouse with Isaac, and I didn't see him at the front desk. That just leaves the break room. And field work, I suppose, but it's not like I can go look for him out there. Ah, there he is! Good! Vincent is sitting at one of the tables, speaking with someone on the phone. Whatever they're talking about must be pretty serious. He looks pretty focused on it, and he's even frowning a little. No, they like to talk big, but they won't bother. Your papers are in order, I checked. Look, if you're really that worried, just set them at 20 and they will leave. Well, that definitely sounds like something I shouldn't be listening to. Right as I'm about to leave, Vincent notices me and gestures me to take a seat. I try to indicate that I can wait until he's done, but he pretty much ignores me and just repeats the gesture, this time more insistently. Stop by whenever you have the time and we'll talk about this in person, alright? I gotta go. Chris! How did it go? Come on, sit down. I take a seat next to him. It went fine. I feel a little bad for leaving out the details, but I don't want to discuss it right now. I quickly change the subject. Are you done yet? I'm exhausted. Sorry, love. Not even close. I have a lot of work to catch up with, and since Sebastian leaves at 9, I have to stay until then at the very least. I see. Do you need help? What? No. You go ahead and leave. He stands up and heads towards one of the drawers, taking out a small card and scribbling something on the back. Can you believe that Sebastian makes us keep these around with our cell phone numbers and everything? I'd like to see him pick up a call sometime. He'd probably end up yelling at the poor soul on the other end. He sneers. Anyway, this is my address. It's the first house on the 13th. No way you can miss it. You'll be staying in the guest room, but make yourself at home. Your things should be there by now. Also, be sure to grab something to eat on the way. It's been a while since I've actually had someone... Oh, it's been a while since I've had someone who actually eats stay over. I've got some things in the fridge, but nothing you'd want to try. Trust me on that. I take a look at the card. Just like he said, it has his name and number, and a scribble on the back that I assume is meant to be a map. The instructions are simple enough, but I can't help frowning at the idea that I have to walk all the way there alone. Bloody hell. The entire point of meeting Vincent before coming to work was so that he would show me the way to his house. Suddenly, his phone begins to ring. I suppose it's my cue. See you later, Vincent. See you later, love. I don't know how he's supposed to sound. He's got like a real love thing, right? So it's like... Maybe he probably sounds way cooler and nicer than I portray him. I hadn't really noticed before, because I kept getting distracted by Vincent. But now that I'm alone, I realize that I get a lot of stares. It must be my finely sculpted butt. I suppose it's normal, given that I'm one of the few humans here, and I don't mind most of them, but There's been a couple that have made me glad that my shift ends when the sun's already risen and not in the middle of the night. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I end up taking Vincent's advice and I stop at a store on the way to his house. I'm not surprised to find that most of the things are meant for monsters, going from the relatively mundane, like claw clippers, to the more uncommon, like flavoured blood substitutes. In the end, I settle for some raw beef, figuring that it should be safe enough to eat once it's cooked. Just as I step outside, now carrying a plastic bag with my groceries, I hear someone yell in my direction. Watch out! Oh god. A wolf almost the size of a bear! Yes, bitch! Appears from around the corner. Before I have the chance to react, it knocks me and all my things down as it runs past. I love wolves! The fall leaves me feeling dizzy, and it's enough to tear an opening to the plastic bag. Fuck my whole entire life! Soon its contents end up scattered all over the floor, now ruined. Who's the egg that did that? I'm too tired to even get angry. When I look up, I see another figure approaching. It's moving at a considerable speed, but not nearly as fast as the wolf. It's more like a person running. Oh god! Hello! Hello! It's not until the figure gets closer that I'm able to get a clear look, and I realize it's a wereman! The one who bears a striking resemblance to a wolf! At that. I love wolves. This is the one. Hello, you are the one. Nice everything. Good job. Congratulations on your face. He stops right in front of me with a worried expression on his face.
Are you alright? Did you have to? You need help to go to hospital? Raggy?
He's talking so fast and he's breathing so heavily between words that I have trouble understanding him. I shake my head and he sighs, visibly relieved.
What? I'm so sorry about that.
He offers me a hand and, right as I take it, helps me get up with a swift movement that leaves my arm hurting more than the fall itself did. Jeez! That's inconsiderate. This guy really doesn't know his own strength. Ouch!
That was my sister!
He laughs, stopping as soon as he realizes that I'm not laughing with him. He clears his throat and begins to rub the back of his neck, looking embarrassed all of a sudden. I'm Ben. You guys are going crazy if I keep doing that. Christopher, I'm kind of in a hurry, so... As I'm about to kneel down to pick up my things, Ben reaches out to put a hand on my shoulder to stop me. With my arm still aching from when he helped me up, I instinctively take a step back, and he uses the opportunity to kneel down himself instead. No, let me. He's like a cute. Either way, not only the hole in the bag makes it pointless to try to put anything back into it, but as soon as he lifts one of the beef packages, it begins to leak. Ugh. We are both barely far enough to avoid getting stained by the liquid when it splashes. Damn, son, it's ruined! It's fine, really. I do my best to make it sound like it's not a big deal so I can go ahead and leave. Are you sure? I open my mouth to speak, but he doesn't wait for me to answer before continuing. I've got it! Come eat with my sisters and me. That'll solve everything. That way I can make it up to you properly. It's not necessary. This is beginning to feel like the conversation I had with Vincent all over again, except there's less touching, which I have a problem with. Please, I insist. It's the least I can do. Don't you have to go looking for your sister? He shakes his head. Nah. The thing with pups is that if you don't catch them right away, they just keep running for as long as you keep chasing them. It's like a game for them. She's bound to notice that I stopped any time now, and as soon as she does, she'll get bored and go home. I live right around the corner, so it won't take too much of your time. 20 minutes at most. What do you say? We are headed in the same direction, then. Nyah! Nyah! St. George's streets aren't that big, so even if we aren't next-door neighbours, chances are that we still live pretty close to each other. That means we're going to end up walking in the same direction, regardless of whether I accept it or not. Oh, God, quick! Let's just accept our newly found furry status. Come on, strap on the fake tail and the furry ears. Just do it. And he's probably going to keep convincing me all the way there. And it's going to be awkward the next time we see each other. Fine. I think I can spare 20 minutes, you fuck.
Wait! You remember my promise!
So, are we eating with him now? This is so bizarre. As it turns out, Ben's house is right in front of the one marked on Vincent's map. From the living room, I can even see Vincent's house through the window. This is cute! The environment art is particularly nice, I've got to say. I do like it. It's got like a soft but crisp tone. I don't know, it sounds like I'm describing a food. The sound of Ben closing the door snaps me back to attention.
How do you feel about chicken?
I shrug. He gestures me to take a seat as he makes his way down to what I presume is the kitchen. I pick the closest one, the couch, and sit down.
Ben, where were you?
We are starving.
Sorry.
I got hauled up by Donna. Go get the tableware, please. That sounds like Ben and someone else. Maybe one of his other sisters. Because Ben's house is so quiet, I can hear them clearly despite not being in the same room. I try to distract myself with something else so I don't end up eavesdropping, but there really isn't much else to focus on. By the way, I invited a friend over for breakfast. Breakfast? Oh, we worked through the night, I guess. Be nice to him. A couple of minutes later, Ben emerges from the hall, this time holding a large bowl. A little girl comes into the living room right afterwards, carrying a bunch of empty plates on one hand and some cutlery on the other. She's a were creature, just like Ben, but her fur is much shorter, except for her head, where it's long enough to be arranged in a ponytail. It's quite cute, actually. Sylvia, this is Christopher. Christopher, this is my sister Sylvia. She takes a step towards me with an expression of suspicion on her face, way more intense than little girls should be capable of. After a moment, I realize that the face is making not because... Whoa, the face she's making is because she's not only looking at me, she's sniffing me, the creepy bitch! Shove her away. You smell weird! What kind of monster are you? Well, at least she looks cute. Ben's eyes go wide as he quickly opens and closes his mouth a few times, obviously trying to think of something to say. He hurries to put the bowl on the table, and, with his hands now free, takes the things that Sylvia is carrying. Sylvia, why don't you go tell the others that breakfast is ready? They were really hungry, right? Raising an eyebrow and looking not quite convinced by the change of the subject, she turns around and leaves. I'm so sorry about that. Humans have a very distinctive smell, and it's the first time she's met one. Don't worry. I understand. I'm going to put a silver bullet right in between her eyes. Breakfast ends up being far more hectic than I could have imagined. Ben has 6 younger sisters, of which 5 end up joining us for breakfast right in the living room. We barely fit there, and both Ben and I have to eat standing up so they can take a seat. Despite my protests, once we're done, Ben doesn't let me leave until I agree to take some of the leftovers home with me. He even offers to help me carry my food to Vincent's, but to my luck, as I try to convince him that it isn't necessary, his younger sister spills a drink on herself and he runs to help her get changed. Thank God! Neighbors or not, I wouldn't want Vincent to come home and find that the first thing I did was letting someone I barely know into the house. We are home! After the whole... From London to Paris. This is quite nice. After the whole ordeal with Ben and his sisters, I end up even more exhausted than before and barely make it to the house. As soon as I step into the living room, I leave the leftovers on the table and pretty much collapse on the couch right afterwards. I manage to lift my head just enough to take a look around me. All the doors look exactly the same, and there's no way to tell which room they lead to without opening them. Even though Vincent told me to go ahead and make myself at home, the little bitch, I can't help but feel like I'd be intruding if I just began to look for the spare room without him here. Just as I'm just making shit up now. As I keep debating whether to wait for him, I feel my eyelids get heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. It's because Vincent's like sitting on his face and is weighing his eyes down. It happens. Vampires. Ah, look at you. I almost feel bad for having to interrupt your sleep. Come on, sweetheart. I don't know you, dude. Time to wake up. You call me sweetheart, you're gonna get a smacked bottom. Maybe that's what you want, though. I see your plan. The first thing I see when I open my eyes is Vincent. He's kneeling in front of me, resting his arms on the empty space on the couch. Personal space, Vincent. I sit up and push myself to the side. Letting out a laugh, Vincent gets up as well and takes a seat next to me. I'm no expert, but I think the guest room's bed is a little bit more comfortable than the couch. Yeah, well, I didn't want to accidentally find your creepy sex dungeon, so I have nothing to say to that, so I change the subject. Wait, I fell asleep? What time is it? He's like, dinner time, and like goes for my jugular. Almost 4. God! I must have been more tired than I realized if I had already lost the better part of the day sleeping. Bloody hell. I make a mental note to set up an alarm clock. Fortunately, our shift begins at 7, so there's still about 3 hours left before we have to head there. Yeah, I should leave early or find something to do in the meantime. Let's find something to do in the meantime. No point going to the office so early. 3 hours early? What the fuck? No. Sebastian never really got around to officially putting me into any position, and since he just told me to report to him at 7, I'm pretty sure we will just end up going over the paperwork together again. There's a chance that Isaac will be there already, but I'm not familiar enough with the warehouse procedures to be of any help. While neither option sound particularly appealing, it's not like I can assign work to myself. Instead, I decide to do something else in the meantime. Let's see. I look at the leftovers from this morning, still in the same spot that I left them, and I get an idea. Vincent, how busy are you right now? He's like cute, but like, he's like a little over familiar. So I'm like, what the fuck? For you, love? Not at all. He's cute though. I ran into one of your neighbors, the werewolf, on the way here. He was pretty insistent about giving me some leftovers to take home, so he lent me a plate. I was hoping to return it before heading to the office. I knew I recognized the smell. Ben's a really nice guy. I'm glad the two of you had a chance to talk. Of course, I will go with you. Bingo. This way I can return the plate to Ben and keep an eye on Vincent to make sure that he arrives on time. Thanks, Vincent. It feels like we're kind of managing these crazy people right now. While I go get changed, Vincent does me the favor of putting the leftovers in one of his own dishes. After we're both ready, we head to Ben's house. It's like we're married already. When Ben opens the door, he's wearing an apron and a pair of yellow rubber gloves. There's a strong disinfectant smell coming from the inside of the house too. It looks like he was in the middle of cleaning. He urges us inside, and as we take a seat, Vincent and I exchange a look. The smell is stronger, almost pungent, in the living room. How is Ben not bothered by it?
Can I get you anything?
No, thank you. We just stopped by to bring your plate.
Next time, don't have to worry about it.
He wiggles his finger at me in a half-hearted scold before taking the plate. Listen, Ben, you can take that finger and shove it up your ass. You know, I do plenty of cooking for my sisters. If you bring me the ingredients, I can make something for you, too. Why is everyone so friendly? It would be cheaper than eating outside, and you'd only have to clean up Vincent's fridge. What's wrong with it? It kind of looks like you tried to summon a demon in there. Maybe you should come over more often and make sure I clean it, then. Shaking his head, Ben dismisses Vincent's comment with a laugh. I suppose they get along so well because he's able to take Vincent in stride. So, what do you say? I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to impose.
Right in this! The real rubber at all!
After yesterday, I'm beginning to realize that my stay here will go much more smoothly if I just humor them when it comes to small stuff like this. I nod. In that case, I'd really appreciate it. If you give me all the things before you go to work, you can come pick up the food after you're done. How was your first day, by the way? Confused, I stare at Ben for a moment. Even if he saw me at the office, he had no way of knowing that yesterday was my first day at work. At least I didn't tell him. The hell? Huh? I turn to Vincent. As if anticipating what I'm about to say, he shakes his head. Don't look at me like that. It wasn't me. Ben clears his throat to get my attention. The fuck?
Right. I actually heard it from the pharmacist. She said she had seen a human that she recognized at the door. I figured she'd talk about you. Since you're the first human to move to St. George in a while.
It's not creepy at all. That's probably what all those stares from yesterday were about. Fine, I guess. I had a lot to do, but that wasn't that different from what I'm used to. He's being too nice about it. Sebastian was an asshole, even more than usual. There was a misunderstanding. We sorted it out, and everything's fine now. Speaking of, we'd better get going. I promised him that I would... Touch his winky. They would arrive on time, duh! You did, huh? I guess that means I won't be coming in late from now on. See you later, Ben. Thanks again, Ben. What does Ben do? Is he just nice for a living? Is that what he does? Vincent stands up first, waving at Ben as he exits the house. When I'm about to do the same, Ben puts a hand on my shoulder. That's pretty gay, dude. It's nice to see Vincent hang out with someone responsible for a change. Be patient with him, okay? He smiles and his expression tells me he's not actually expecting an answer. A moment later, after he lets go of me, I excuse myself and go catch up with Vincent. The walk to the office is pretty uneventful. Once we get there, we find the front door still locked, which means that we are the first ones to arrive. Vincent rubs his hands together, grinning so widely his fangs show. Look at this. Sebastian hasn't arrived yet. I can't wait to see his face when he realizes that I got there before him. When Sebastian told me to make sure that Vincent wouldn't be late anymore, I'm pretty sure he didn't expect it to end with Vincent being motivated by the idea of being able to gloat about it. Whatever works, I suppose. I take the key out of my pocket and open the door. Since we need to wait for Sebastian anyway, we head towards the break room. Expecting the break room to be empty, I do a double take when I see Isaac sitting at one of the tables. Oh my god, it's Bro. Though he's facing the door, he doesn't seem to notice our entrance. Rather, he appears to be staring straight through us, completely immobile. That's not creepy at all. There we go. How is he here? The door was locked from the outside. Give me a second. Ignoring my question, Vincent approaches Isaac. Once he's close enough, he leans forward and waves a hand in front of his face. He's probably recharging. He snaps his fingers a couple of times, and Isaac's head jerks up with a loud click. Yeah. Good evening, bitch. My apologies. I miscalculated the amount of time I would have before the room would be needed. Isaac, what are you doing here? Recharging, bitch. No, I mean, employees aren't supposed to stay here overnight. Alone. He turns toward Vincent and raises an eyebrow. Is the bitch not informed about my situation? I haven't had the chance to tell him. Now's as good a time as any, I suppose. We are interrupted by the sound of steps. A moment later, Sebastian comes through the door.
I'll be damned! You're both here! I suppose congratulations are in order, Wells.
He sounds surprised, but pleased nonetheless. Something about his tone tells me he didn't have that much faith in me. Alright, dickhead. And anyway, I don't have time to think about it. As soon as Sebastian looks at Vincent and Isaac, his body tenses up. He points at Isaac.
Who is this?
Isaac?
Who?
The android in charge of the warehouse?
But we don't have a...
Sebastian pauses as realization seems to hit him. Le gasp! And I have the sudden feeling that I said something that I shouldn't have. He takes a step toward Vincent and begins poking him on the chest so hard that I can even see his finger bend a little each time.
So, Vincent, would you mind explaining to me who's Isaac?
Vincent slaps Sebastian's hand away and crosses his arms. Didn't you just hear? He's the android in charge of the warehouse. What's the matter, Sebastian? You can't recognize your own employees?
For fuck's sake, Vincent! How many times are we going to have this conversation? It's the second time this week. Christopher doesn't count. He was transferred here.
That's not the point, and you know it. You're overreacting. Isaac has been here for almost a month already, and you didn't find out until now. Oh god, we've got some secret snarly phase going on. I should say something before things get worse. No! On second thought, fuck no. Regardless of who has the reason, there's no way for me to choose between my boss and someone that's letting me stay at his house. Besides, considering that every single time I've seen them together, they've been arguing to the point of shouting, I have a hunch that Sebastian has no intention of actually firing Vincent anytime soon. Let's go, Isaac. Isaac follows me out of the room and onto the street without saying anything. Vincent and Sebastian don't notice, or if they do, they don't bother acknowledging us. Shouldn't we have stayed, bitch? I believe, is that deliberate? That they would be more willing to listen to your opinion than to each other's. No, siding with one of them will only make it worse. My guess is that they'll keep going until one of them gives in. Most likely Mr. Griffin. Then we'll all go on like nothing happened. You really think that will be the case, bitch? Well, I'm not sure if that's what you mean. I sit down on the steps. Isaac sits beside me, his body touching the concrete with a metallic thud. It wasn't my intention to cause problems for either of you. Did you know about the screening process for employees? Not until recently. Then it's not really your fault. If anything, it's Vincent's for not thinking twice before acting. But I really have to ask, why go through all this trouble? I currently do not possess the necessary papers to acquire housing, nor to work. Vincent has been helping me procure the documentation, but the process is considerably long. He assured me that it wouldn't matter to anyone if I stayed here in the meantime. Bitch? So he's unregistered. That explains a lot. We've got some serious issues getting covered, and this is only the demo. Vincent has good intentions, but there's a reason we do the things the way we do. Anyway, regardless of what Mr. Griffin says, I promise that I'll help you with your papers. Knowing how to navigate the system can cut the time it takes by at least half. Oh god. I would appreciate that. Although the words come out as matter-of-factly as everything he says, I could swear I saw his eyes widen with surprise for a second. 'Cause they did. They should be done by now. Let's go back inside, alright? Okay. You reached the end of the demo. Thanks for playing. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Monstrous Lovers for more updates. Well, guys, that has been the demo of Monstrous Lovers. I do hope that you've enjoyed it. I certainly did. Although I feel like I feel like everyone's crazy. And we're like the only sane person managing all these monstrous, nice babies. I don't really know. Apart from Sebastian. He's just a penis. But, you know, not even in a good sense. He's just a literal dick. If you liked this and you would like the possibility of a full game of Monstrous Lovers, then I do suggest you go and check them out and go and support their Kickstarter. I believe they are raising the funds to actually make this a full game, and like, you know, that's gonna be pretty fucking cool. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this, then be sure to do all kinds of filthy things to that like button, and subscribe to me if you would like to see more content from this silly, not very good at talking face. Check out other stuff on my channel that you may have missed, but absolutely most importantly, take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye! You are a goddess! Can you reach in here and hold this for a minute? If you choose anything other than the above choice, you are a Muppet! Alright, yeah, clearly I'm the Muppet for ejecting this fine-ass piece, this fine woman, this goddess. I was stuck on 50 subscribers for such a long time. I was very thankful to the people that did give me a chance below 50, because it's so hard, really. And so I just didn't know what I wanted to really work towards, apart from that I just wanted to do something. I don't really know how to play Sims in like a challengey mode kind of way, so I think the most challenging thing about it is going to be me and looking at his bum a bit too often. Thank you for the new fishing skill. That's really great. What the hell? Max's favorite to the I don't give a fuck. So if that's like your household, I just crushed your dreams.